Joining me now is Sky News contributor Louise Roberts and news.com.au entertainment reporter Bronte Coy. Ladies, Harry and Meghan are today wrapping up their 4-day non-royal royal tour of Colombia. Louise, what was the actual purpose of this trip? What was on the agenda?
Well, Caro, this DIY tour of Colombia, as we've called it, the purpose was, I think, to sort of strengthen brand Sussex, although, of course, they were there at the invitation of the Vice President of Colombia, Marquez, who had seen their documentary on Netflix and was so moved by some of the themes and their mission for female empowerment and tackling cyberbullying, both of which are great causes, I might add, that she invited them to Colombia to talk about it and to see how they're tackling that in the country. But of course, the issue is it's been overshadowed by the fact that there's fears they're being manipulated, because bringing Harry and Meghan into the country as bright, shiny things, although not working royals, is a great distraction to what's actually going on in the country with the murderous drug trade and lots of controversy in the government itself. So whether it achieves anything, I don't know. I mean, they've been to schools, they've been to art performances, they've talked at length about their desire to protect children online, something we all share a passion for, I guess. But it seems to be a very, as you said, a very sort of woolly tour, and it's not like the authentic royals arriving with the backing of the King and also perhaps the UN, which is what happened when Sophie visited there last year. So I think where will their next tour be? I mean, these are very much publicity platforms, I think, rather than going to countries and helping them address issues.
And Bronte, what were the most notable parts so far of the trip for you?
So Harry and Meghan are really fantastic when they're mingling with communities. There's amazing photo ops of them with kids, and I love to see all that. That's the stuff that gets beamed all over the world. But look, it's been more than 4 years since they quit royal duties, and I should probably let this go. But the thing that struck me watching this unfold is, as you said at the top of the show, the purpose of this trip hasn't been made very clear, and I think that's because they haven't got the backing of the monarchy to actually create a proper royal tour, even though this looks like one. And at the end of the day, if they want to do non-royal royal tours, really, it's just such a shame that they weren't able to make it work within the monarchy. And also having had a year like the royal family has had, where there's so few members out and about at certain periods because of their health issues, you know, I look at it and I say, it's a shame. It's a wasted opportunity. When they have purpose and focus and they're being deployed effectively, Harry and Meghan are a really powerful asset. And I think it's a real shame that it's all gone the way it has. But I know I should let it go. It's been years.
I don't see you letting it go anytime soon, just quietly, but still with you, Bronte. And it's been reported that Harry won't go back to the UK for his uncle Lord Fellow's funeral due to security concerns. Look, he's just been in Colombia, and I know he's had security there, but he's having a bit of a lend of us, isn't he?
Yeah, look, that's the reason that's emerged. It's an interesting one, as you say, given where he currently is. But this is really quite sad. You know, it's very well documented that Harry's relationship with the royal family is very fractured, but he is said to be really close with his mum's family. And so this is his mum's sister's husband who passed away late last month. And there's going to be quite an intimate service for him. The date hasn't been released yet. But this is the kind of thing you would expect that he would attend. It's an important, significant family occasion, and they'll all get together and mourn. But you know, he has been saying he's had this ongoing battle with the UK Home Office over the decision to strip him of around-the-clock police protection. And he is saying he doesn't feel safe going back to the UK. So that's one reason, although I will say, and again, in reference to that fractured royal family situation, this is another family occasion where William is likely to be there and other members of the family. And it will just be extremely awkward to have Harry and William in the same room. They, by all accounts, haven't really spoken for 2 years. So this actually happened, of course, a couple of months ago. We had their close friend had his big wedding, and Harry would have attended. He'd be expected to attend, but again, didn't want to go and have that face-to-face with William and also overshadow the event. So it's just awkward all around.
And Louise, an interesting piece in the Times this week ahead of Prince Harry's 40th birthday about how he constantly looks to the past. I'd be really interested in your view on that take.
Oh, it was a great read, wasn't it, Caro? And I think the fact that he's turning 40 on September 15 is a time for him to stop with the retrospective bitterness and stop commercialising it as well and look forward, look to see what he can contribute to actually getting his family back together. I mean, there were so many fantastic nuggets in that piece. I've really felt quite sad, though, when I read the line saying that William doesn't even talk about his brother anymore. He's focused on his wife and his children, and Harry doesn't even come up in conversation, although Charles, of course, we know is pining for some kind of reconciliation between his boys and indeed himself and Harry too. But also, Harry said, well, from a very young age, he had obviously Diana's friends and Diana's family, as Bronte's mentioned as well, but also his school friends from Eton, his army mates, a very solid set of friends that he should have around him still as he's facing his 5th decade as well. But he doesn't have that. He's in Los Angeles. I mean, Meghan's fine. Meghan's got her school friends. Meghan's got her acting network. And I mean, she doesn't see her father, but she certainly does see her mother. Harry doesn't have any of that. So he is now a prince in a gilded cage, bereft, regretful, and you can see flashes of that on his face whenever he's out in public with Meghan, sort of almost like a simmering resentment as what have I done to myself? And his friends have turned their backs on him. To them, to betray your roots, your aristocratic friends and so forth, and your family so publicly, and to make money out of it, they've just turned their back and said enough. So he's on his own. It's very sad.
Now, Bronte, that there was very, very well covered. I'm not sure I could have said it better, but anything you'd like to add there?
Yeah, the thing that struck me throughout this article, and as Louise said, it's just about purpose. I think Harry is someone who's just struggling to find purpose. And to be fair on him, I have always thought he's very talented in connecting with people. He can, we see it through the Invictus Games and when he's, out and about with causes he cares about. But I think that he has great intentions a lot of the time, but the execution just isn't there. And without purpose, I think I think the word Louise just used there was rudderless. I think it's just going to be difficult for him to get back on course until he really finds out what the course of his career is going to be. He's only 40. He has decades more in the public eye, I'd imagine. So we need to see what he's going to do next.
Absolutely, and it remains an issue. And Bronte, just staying with you, we know the royal family's currently on summer vacation at Balmoral, but it doesn't appear to be solely recreational. It's been reported that there's apparently crunch talks afoot. What do we know about this?
Yeah, so the family all gets together at Balmoral, as we discussed last week, for their summer holiday. But during that time, one of the benefits of having all the senior members there together is I suppose they are all in the same room and they can talk about some of the big issues that are going to come up over the next year. And last year was very retrospective. It was Charles's first time hosting after the late Queen's death, and I think that was just about honouring her more than anything. But this year they are looking toward the future, and reports have surfaced that one of the major items on the agenda this year is how best to move forward without Harry and Meghan, and also discussion around whether they should keep their titles and peerages. Now, getting rid of those would create possibly a lot of complications. I don't imagine that is something that they will do. But at the same time, this is an issue that just keeps surfacing. So I think they're all keen to just make final decisions in this area, have a strategy moving forward, and just stay the course on that now and sort of draw the line in the sand.
Absolutely. And Louise, there's been an update this week on Princess Catherine's health. What do we now know?
Well, we were treated to that wonderful video, weren't we, where they joined Snoop Dogg, of all people, and David Beckham congratulating Team GB for their great results in the Olympics, and she congratulated them, looking very relaxed. Of course, William stole the show slightly with his sort of summer dad beard, which has caused a bit of fun and games, I guess, in a way. But also we understand that Kate is on the road to recovery. There's very little detail directly from her, but certainly some royal experts in the UK, and I would indicate the Daily Mail's Rebecca English is one of those, has said that the treatment is going well and she's very much looking forward, not looking back. But of course, it is still a day-by-day situation, I believe, for Kate.
And Bronte, some of King Charles's first banknotes have gone to auction. They've sold for an eye-watering price. Can you tell us about it?
Yeah, so at face value, they were just under £80,000, which is about $150,000, but they've sold for about just under £1 million, which is nearly $2 million. These were auctioned off by the Bank of England, and they're among the first banknotes that had Charles's face on them that went into circulation in June. So they're extremely rare. And all the money that's been raised from that will go to several charities. So it's a really great initiative. And, for people that collect banknotes, a very exciting find. And I will finish up here on a fun fact, which I didn't realise. The Queen, the late Queen Elizabeth, was actually the first monarch to be honoured with her face on a banknote, which was only in 1960.
Oh, how fabulous. I didn't know that either.
No.
Now, Louise, lastly, and I've only got about 30 seconds for you, Princess Anne celebrated her 74th birthday this week. Great occasion for us to look back on the life of just such an exceptional woman.
That's right, and we're quite the fans, aren't we, Caro? We've said this before, I think, on this program.
Absolutely.
But I agree. I mean, Princess Anne is the moral and spiritual compass, I believe, of the UK royal family. There's only 21 months between her and Charles. They're very close. They always were as kids. There were some beautiful photographs released of them as you know, a little boy and little girl sort of playing at Balmoral, I believe it was. But yes, an admirable woman, fantastic kids herself. Zara's, you know, a champion horsewoman and a lovely person to boot. And I think some of Princess Anne's missions in life, frugality and duty, are just wonderful.